Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Herstory Online Summit, March the 1st, 2022. This is Gertrude Matcha here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia, and it gives me great pleasure to be reconnecting with you all during International Women's Month. So, what can you expect from the Herstory Circle in 2022? Well, this is the first summit we're having for this year, and we are on a mission to bring you 10 to 15 speakers every single day for 31 days. So I'm really excited to be able to introduce our keynote speaker for today, an amazing lady who is coming to us virtually all the way from Egypt. Now, a lot of you know we have been aiming to attract people coming from all walks of life. Joycelyn Starfeather calls herself a visibility and thought leader coach, a guide for visionary entrepreneurs. She's the founder of Sacred Planet. She's a writer and an environmentalist. She says, my journey of life initially put me on a path to hone my practical and logical side. I worked out by learning my MBA and then enjoyed a successful 15-year corporate finance career, working for companies like Cadbury and Mercedes-Benz. But then I was thrust into a deep spiritual awakening around the time my first daughter was born in 2010. It was that awakening which turned my life upside down, and from which I emerged with a powerful understanding of how to use my intuition and healing abilities, aspects of myself that I never knew existed before. I drove deeply into earth-based shamanic practices and studied alongside elders and wisdom keepers. At the time, I became immersed in studying the powerful world of online entrepreneurship and began creating online events, conferences, and summits designed to change people's lives and assist in the rising of human consciousness. So, Joycelyn, thank you for gracing us with your presence virtually and coming to us all the way from Egypt today. I was so happy when your video finally came through because, as you know, we are wanting you to inspire our audience, take us into your world and share what it's like where you are right now and where you think 2022 is going to take humanity in general. So I'm going to share your screen and we will listen and hear from this amazing woman. And for those of you who are watching online, thank you for tuning in. As you know, this is my favorite thing to do in the world, to be able to share these amazing stories, these phenomenal women who cross our paths in very, very magical ways. And Joycelyn, thank you again for sharing your story. So here we go.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jocelyn Starfeather, and I am absolutely thrilled to be here with you and to be the keynote speaker for this event. And wow, what a beautiful event that Gertrude has created here. Thank you, Gertrude, for bringing together amazing people from all around the world for this beautiful, inspiring, and powerful gathering. So we're here today to talk about the power of giving. Now, there is so much power in giving, and so I can't wait to share just a little bit about this. So one thing that is incredibly important to know as we begin this conversation about the power of giving is that we are all so much more powerful than we have been told, than we are raised and brought up in this modern world to know. And the most important thing that we can possibly give to anyone all throughout our lives is to give someone their power back. And we can do this in really easy ways, in little small ways. Every day we can give people their power back. Because again, we each hold so much power within us. And I'll say a bit more about that in a minute. But often all somebody needs, and maybe you listening right now, maybe all that you need is just a little permission to take back your vast and infinite power that you hold within. So I am here traveling in Egypt. I have been in Egypt for most of the month of February. And wow, are we learning here about the power that we as human beings used to know that we had. I am here. I can't exactly see the pyramids from right where I'm sitting, or I would turn the camera and show them to you, but I'm very close to the pyramids in Giza. And as you may know, these pyramids were constructed thousands of years ago. And today, with our modern technology, we cannot comprehend, the engineers, the scientists, the archaeologists cannot comprehend, the people of today. We simply cannot understand how the people of ancient Egypt constructed these pyramids. They are absolutely miraculous feats of architecture, of stonework, of moving materials, stones that weigh, in some cases, 200 tons or more, and constructing them into these absolutely beautiful, really works of art in architecture. And so you can see from the outside how perfect the pyramids are, even though they've been weathered, they've been taken apart, the outer layers of them have been removed, they're still so beautiful. And if you go inside of the pyramids, you can see the perfection of the construction from within. And this is really sacred architecture, sacred geometry that the ancient Egyptians put together when they created these pyramids. And somehow they did this. Somehow they did the impossible. Also, when we travel to the different temples, the different structures where the gods and goddesses of this land were honored and celebrated, and where the rituals and ceremonies were held, we see in the hieroglyphs, we see in the construction of the temples as well, this absolute perfection, such a deep attention to detail and honoring of the sacredness of life, honoring the sacredness of the sacred geometrical universe that we're all a part of. Now, the reason I'm telling you all of this about ancient Egypt is because this knowledge of how to do the impossible, this understanding of how to create miracles in our own lives, this connection with a profound power that we have within to truly choose something new, choose a different reality, choose a different way of living. It is already within us. It is in our DNA, it is in our blood, it is in the structure of every cell, it is in the structure of our bones, because we too are part of this sacred geometry. And in ancient Egypt, the people knew how to work with this. They knew how to do what we today consider magic, but to them, they understood that this was just how the world works. And so this is something that I've seen here again and again, is that miracles and synchronicities and the deep, deep power we hold within are not rare. They're not actually unusual. We've been told that they are. We've been told that they're impossible. But really and truly, miracles and synchronicity and the deep power we hold within are how the universe actually works. So with all that in mind, I want to bring this back to our theme today of the power of giving. Now, there are so many ways that we can remind ourselves and remind one another of the deep power that we hold within. So for everyone listening, one way to work with this for yourself is to connect in with what you love. Okay, what just brings you alive, right? What is it that you love to do or you wish you could be doing every day that you just know if you do more and more of this, you will be so filled with joy. You will be so filled with optimism that it feels like there's magic within you when you think about this. This is a key to your deepest power. This is a key to the deepest, most profound contribution that you are here in this lifetime to bring to the world. So really pay attention to what you love, okay? If you would love to travel and visit other places, if you would love to do healing work and help other people heal, if you would love to be a teacher or a leader in some way, and you're not doing that yet, I invite you to really take this to heart. You have the power to choose, to shift your life and begin doing that which you would most love. You have that power within. I want to give you permission to dream really big, to expand your perception of what is possible, to really lean into the fact that people in the past, when we were more connected with the truth of how the universe really works, have been able to do what we think today is impossible. And you can do this too, no matter how impossible it seems. And so what I would invite you to do around this is to give yourself the gift of creating a vision statement. Now, this is not just any vision statement. This is a really beautiful living document. It is alive with your own life force, with your own power within. And the way that you can do this is to write down on a piece of paper at the top, okay, write a date that is 1 year from today. Okay, so if you're listening to this, say on March 1st, 2022, you would write that at the top of the paper. Today is March 1st, 2023, and I am ... okay? And then go in and fill in the whole page in the present tense. So saying, I am doing this, I am doing that, all the things that in your wildest dreams you would love to be doing 1 year from now that you know would bring tremendous joy and peace and light into your heart, into your soul. Write it all down, okay? End it with a statement of gratitude to God, Goddess, great mystery creator, whoever you speak to in your prayers. And then the invitation here is to keep this vision statement by your bedside table and read it every day when you first wake up. Just take 2 or 3 minutes. It won't take long. Read it every single day when you first wake up, before you even put your feet on the floor. And in this way, you will be starting every day fully tuned into the future that you wish to create for yourself. And so as you go about your day, having read this first before you did anything else, you will begin to make decisions differently. You will begin to see possibilities in a new light. You will be able to recognize new gifts that the universe is sending into your world because you've said yes to this vision. You will slowly, gradually be shifted and changed into a new person, a very, very new and bright and shiny person who fully believes in this vision and who is stepping closer and closer and closer to carrying it out. And you will be amazed at the miracles that come into your life over the next year as you read this vision statement every day. So I invite you to give this gift to yourself, no matter where you are, no matter what your biggest dreams are, okay, write them down, read it every day. And it's important to write them in the present tense, like I am doing this, I am doing that, really claiming that it's already happening. This has a powerful effect on your subconscious mind, okay? As your subconscious hears this repeated every day, oh, I am speaking in front of an amazing group of 1,000 women at different speeches, and I am changing their lives, and I am impacting them and helping them to live in a new way, right? Something like that. As you read that every day, your subconscious mind is going to accept that more and more as an actual fact, an actual truth of what is happening. And you will begin to shift your reality, maybe even in ways you don't fully understand at first, to come more and more into alignment with that future vision, which is actually who you already are. Now, this is how you can give this gift to yourself, this gift of taking back your power. And it's important to just note all the ways that our power is taken away from us in this modern world, right? From the time that we are very small, maybe even from the time before we're born, when we're in the womb, as we are hearing what's going on in the external world. We come into this life with our full power, but it is taken away from us. We're told we must follow the rules. We must not be too loud. We must not be this. We must be that. You know, there's all these things that are told to us as if it has to be that way. And these are lies. These are really lies, because the truth is that we are infinitely, infinitely powerful. So I don't want to dwell on negative things in this talk with you today, but I want to just let you know that it's not your fault. Okay, if you feel powerless, it's not your fault if you feel less than. But it's really important to recognize that all the ways that you feel not enough, or too much, or all the ways you've been silenced, were not true. They were not reflecting the truth of the universe. They were not reflecting the truth of your power within. And so this vision statement is just such a wonderful way to remind yourself every day of your power as a creator being, your power to create your own reality, and to let that become your truth more and more and more with every day. Now, I also want to share with you how important it is that we give power back to others. And as you are shining your light brighter and brighter every day using this vision statement, you are going to begin to see even more clearly all the light, all the power within the other people around you. And so we can give people their power back in many different ways, through just a little word, just a smile, just a word of encouragement here and there. So we all have an intuitive ability to see the power and the gifts within other people. So just think of the people in your life, maybe even, it might be people who are close to you. It might be your mother or father, your child, your spouse. It might be your neighbor that you talk to only occasionally. It might even be the person working at the grocery store or at the shop, that in your town or in your neighborhood. When you see the light shining brightly within someone, when you see how their smile lights up a room, perhaps, or when you see that they have gone out of their way to help another person, really go and just say a word of encouragement to them to recognize that light within them. Let them know that you noticed this, that you found this really powerful, and that you see the deeper power, the deeper light shining from within them. And if you have a word of encouragement or an inspirational word that you feel inclined to share with somebody, go ahead and do it. Don't hold back. We are living in very catalyzing times, very challenging times right now. And so we all need each other. We all need the support of one another. And the more that we can encourage one another, give a kind word, give a smile, compliment somebody on their smile, compliment somebody on their dress or their necklace, or the way that they helped a neighbor, right? The more light we're bringing into the world, and the more that we're reminding these other people around us of their true power within. So the power of giving. The power of giving is endless. The power of giving is infinite. So I invite you really to take a few moments today to give to yourself, to write that vision statement, have fun, dream big, give yourself full permission to write down things that seem impossible and know that they can become true. And if it seems to you especially impossible that that might happen in only a year, I encourage you to keep that 1 year date at the top of the vision statement, because you will be amazed once you step into this space of all possibilities being available, how much can happen. And at the same time as we're in this very catalyzing, very challenging time, we're also in a time when our evolution can occur very rapidly, our personal development, the ways that we can change from the inside out, the ways that we can shift old patterns and move into a new version of ourselves that is more aligned with our highest self. This can happen very rapidly. This is all being accelerated right now because we're being asked to change clearly in the world. Humanity needs to change. We need to change the way we're treating the earth. We need to change the way we're treating each other. And so when we make the decision to do that in all these different ways, we're getting a lot of help. We're getting the accelerated pace of evolution coming to assist us. So really believe so much can happen in a year. And even if you only get, let's say, 50% of the way there in a year, well, that's amazing, right? That's incredible. So keep that 1 year date. Don't be put off by that. Really believe it. So much can happen in a year. And when you get to March 1st of 2023, or 1 year after you wrote your vision statement, do another one for a year and keep doing it. I've been doing this for years and it's incredibly powerful. And also remember to give each other our power back any chance that you get. Help people to find that light, that power within them by being a mirror, reflecting it back, right? I see you. I see how powerful you are. I see how good and kind and generous you are. I see the light that you are shining. Let's remind each other of that every single day. So thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of this beautiful event that Gertrude has created. What a beautiful gift this event is for all of us. What a beautiful way of bringing knowledge and wisdom and reminding us all of our power at this really, really key and momentous time on our beautiful planet. And I am sending you all so much love, many, many blessings. If you're interested in finding out more about my work or connecting in any way, you can visit my website, which is at www.weare, so it's WEARE, sacredplanet.com. And I am sending you all so much love from my heart to yours. Mwah. Many blessings. Enjoy this beautiful event with Gertrude, and I hope to see you all very soon again.
Wow, what a beautiful start to our International Women's Month Summit 2022. Jocelyn, thank you so much for coming to us all the way from Egypt. I must say, you are truly a magician. Just so all of you know, I took part in an event that she hosted in January. It was called Into the Mystica, Wisdom and Secrets from Our Primordial Past. And I was one of a panel of amazing speakers from all over the world. And in that short time that I was involved with that event, she was able to fundraise for our girls in Zimbabwe. We are trying to build a factory that is going to be helping young girls in Zimbabwe stay in school. The factory is going to be making reusable sanitary pads for girls. So most little girls in Zimbabwe don't go to school if they have a period. And I happened to share this in her community. And before I knew it, the community started fundraising for us. And they did some phenomenal things that absolutely just humble me. So thank you for tuning in all the way from New Mexico. Kim Cavell, I can see you're online and you're saying, I love what you're saying. It's about personal, deep power. It's beautiful. It's very true. We all have something within ourselves that we need to tune into. What is that something? What is the deep power within you that you have forgotten? And we just have forgotten it. Life sometimes conditions us to think and see things in different ways. And so this was a really good reminder of that. But the most beautiful thing that I have taken home is that you can also give power back to those around you. Just by being a mirror, reflecting back to the people around you, how amazing and how gorgeous they are. Because again, people do forget their own inner power. So coming all the way from Sydney, Australia, Miriam Bova, wonderful to see you tuning in with us today. I'm glad to see that you are back from your retreat and in the real world. Thank you for being here and participating from a distance. And the beautiful Dorothy. Dorothy is coming in all the way from the United Kingdom. She says this is true. My takeaway is giving power back to self and others around us. Very, very true. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in, for sharing your ideas, your wisdom with us. So we're going to now look at our next speaker for the morning. Our next speaker is coming to us all the way from Germany this time. Now, we have a very eclectic group of presenters for today. And Erica Maisie is currently living, I'm going to try and say this word properly, joygasmically and fully alive with breast cancer. She's a soul-based coach, a visionary artist, a Siberian shamanic practitioner who loves helping others during big challenges and health crises so that they can reconnect to themselves and feel and be free and at peace inside, no matter what challenges are on the outside. She's also the author of Wearing. This is a mysterious art of weaving your own destiny. And her current book, emerging based from her healing journey, The Even More Wearing Way, The Alchemy of Turning Demons into Diamonds. During a presentation, you'll learn the following: how Erica turned demons into diamonds while journeying with breast cancer, how one can awaken through major health crisis, what the Wearing Way is, and how ancient Siberian shamanic and Buddhist practices have supported Erica's healing journey. How you can weave ancient myths and healing modalities into the new earth that is emerging. So it looks like this whole concept of the mythical is coming through from all of our presenters today. And so it gives me great pleasure to share with you our next speaker coming to us all the way from Germany. She will be presenting again later on in the month. We pulled her presentation forward because one of our speakers didn't send us her video, so we had to think really fast. And so this is the beautiful Erica joining us from Germany. Thank you, Erica. And here we go.
Hello, dear co-creative destiny weavers. Here's Erica Maisie, also known as Erica Maisie, Erica Mazini, like the name of my website. I like to invite you to come on a journey with me, on my own personal healing journey with breast cancer since my diagnosis 2 days before last Christmas. And I like to call it Cancer and Awakening, how I turned demons into diamonds. This is also the title of my book, Emerging, as I am emerging from my cocoon and into the butterfly emerging. Similar like to this picture here, like the goddess who like transmuted her demons and all her chakras, and then this diamond in her diamond heart and rainbow wings ready to fly. Hold on with me. And some of you might know that I love telling fairy tales, and I've got a playlist on my YouTube channel with many stories and fairy tales, as well as on my website, ericaamazing.me. But this is not just a fairy tale, it's my own inner alchemy tale of a wounded healer. This is not a heroine's journey of me beating, overcoming, or surviving cancer. I am still in the midst of treatments and do not know the outcome. This is an uncertain road without the guarantee of success. However, I want to share the good news of coming home within myself, my inner diamond inside my heart, that can take it all and rest in the grace and bliss of the current moment. Like my picture you can see here, my illuminated diamond heart that gives me wings after I transmuted demons into diamonds. So this tale of the wounded healer is based on 3 stages. It's like a shamanic journey between the different 3 worlds. Like the shamans go traveling on the world tree. We go into the underworld. It's like an initiation where we go into the underworld and meet our demons before they get transmuted and ascend into the light. So here's my picture of my underworld alley, which is the raven. It's also my main goddess Bergini energy that is also embroidered here on my shamanic dress. So she came to support me on this journey of initiation, of going into the underworld. And from the very beginning of my breast cancer diagnosis, it didn't feel right to me to beat cancer or to survive it, overcome it. No, this book came to me by Tsultrim Alyona about the Buddhist praxis Chöd, which is called Feeding Your Demons. And those quotes summarize it quite well, like Rainer Maria Rilke says, perhaps everything terrible in us is, in its deepest being, something helpless, needing our help. And like the author of the book, Tsultrim Alyon, says here, as I cooked in the cauldron of motherhood, the incredible love I felt for my children opened my heart and brought me a much greater understanding of universal love. It made me understand the suffering of the world much more deeply. So here I was. I didn't want to overcome it or push it away. I leaned in and invited my demons in. And they started to communicate directly to me, like my tumor is the obscurus, like you might know from the movies, The Fabulous Beasts or Harry Potter. It's this suppressed magical spiritual power, which for me is like not having been nourished, not having lived in my feminine ancestral lineage. There's a magical powers that we carry within ourselves. And my metastasis introduced themselves as the destructive masculine, like where I'm from Kazakhstan and the former Soviet Union. What was it like? It was like really just spreading out and colonizing all neighboring countries. And this is exactly what the metastasis is doing. They're just killing very aggressively all the healthy cells. So here I was becoming intimate with my demons, of throwing light to them and embracing them. And it's like Zulne Malione just said in her quote, it's more like embracing, especially our hearts and painful sides, like a Catholic calls it the pain body, leaning towards them, loving them, like a loving mother would do. Like here, the great mother of my ancestral lineage, Umai, she's all there and loving it and embracing it all, or like in this picture of Siberian shamanism, the 4 deities. You see Umai in the south there again, all open to receive and to embrace whatever life throws at us. And this is my underworld journey of embracing my demons. And once I was there in the underworld and really got to know my demons, I started to climb up like this shamanic tree with the little help of my friends, like my medicine totem, the white deer, Belowotia, who really helped me. Like you see the 2 black dots on the right, this is my tumor, my metastasis. And with the help of the spirit sparring it up to the spirit. Or like here in Siberia, my totem, the willow tree, where I left a white cloth around it. And in that way, I feel forever connected with this tree, which helps me on my shamanic journey to center myself in the trunk, like I sit here on the nest and rest, and then travel with my different spirit guides into the underworld or in the middle world where I sit in this picture, and then spiraling it up into the spirit. And so after the transmutation of the demons and the ascension process, I feel like I'm arrived in my illuminated heart, diamond heart. This is the inner kingdom Shambhala of unconditional love. Some of you might know Shambhala is this legend where supposedly in Tibet or in Siberia, it's Belovodje, is this land of awakened people living there, an awakened kingdom. And I feel that this has happened within my own self by bringing my demons into my heart of all love. And that's why I've embroidered, like here, the diamond around my raven, my Ellie, and here you can see the diamond, my illuminated heart, and also of my goddess of full aliveness here. So I wrote a book, The Weirding Way, which I published last year, which you can see here on the left. But really, it's the path. Weirding means weaving. It's about weaving each moment and decide to weave love in each of the moment and all of our experiences. And this is where the wisdom comes from, like here in my collage, the wise one, the raven energy. It's all about traveling between the worlds and being a messenger of weaving in love in all experiences and all choices. So it is not a destination like healing cancer in case that makes us successful. It is loving our shadows and most painful parts and holding space for them. This inner alchemy turns demons into diamonds, and it is an ongoing process as long as we live. So it's an invitation to uncover as many diamonds as possible in our own lives. So by now, I hope you understand the difference between demon and the diamond. The demon is what disturbs and desolates us and keeps us stuck, our shadow parts. And the diamond, which comes actually from Greek, and Socrates coined this term, this is like our highest self, the guiding principle and fulfiller of our life's purpose. And like the diamond, it's found deeply in the unconscious, like a diamond in the deep earth. There you see again my legend painting with my Ellie the raven. Here you can see it's on the top after we dive deep in the underworld and then brought it up to the spirit. So what diamonds will your inner wear bring to the light from your darkest places? Thank you for listening. And at the moment, what is weaving through me is the offering underworld journey with the raven. Like it all started with me to go on the underworld journey, but you can similarly meet your shadow parts, your demons, and then come on this courageous journey of your own alchemical, wounded healer journey. I look forward to weave with you. Lots of love. So if you like to dive deeper on your own unique
Thank you so much, Erica, coming to us all the way from Germany. What an amazing young woman. Thank you to everybody who's been tuning in online. It is truly magical, the speakers that we're getting today. Thank you, Kim. Very inspiring, especially now in this strange but potentially magnificent world of ours. It is a very strange time. Laurie, I can see you're also tuning in there saying thank you. Thank you so much for participating in our online summit today. So how can we transmute our physical ailments and really understand what is going on with our bodies? So as women, we manifest all kinds of diseases. There's always something that we learn from these experiences. I can so relate to Erica's presentation because when I went through heart failure, I learned a lot about myself. And I was actually reminded yesterday by a very tuned in young man when I was having a conversation with him, based on a few things that I'm going through right now. And he reminded me to go back to the sound of my heartbeat, just to tune back inside, because all of the answers for the things that I'm looking for right now are within. So Erica's healing journey, she has gone back inside herself. I think the embroidery, again, is a way of just stopping the madness, tuning everything out that is going on in your life and just focusing on something that brings you joy And the embroidery seems to have done it for Erica, which is quite fascinating as well. So Erica, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. It was lovely to have you contribute a little bit of yourself with us during this online summit. And we will have you back again later in the month. Thank you for allowing us to push your video forward to fill in for somebody who had let us down this morning. So our next speaker is Linda Osborne. Linda is the founder and creative director of Cockatoo Dreaming, a mentor, speaking, women's gathering and retreat organization. She's also the founder and co-director of Garima Health and Wellness Services that provides bespoke training and education to businesses about health and well-being for their teams. She is a proud Banjalung First Nations woman from North Coast of New South Wales and a proud Kuku Yalanji and Kuku Thaifana woman from far North Queensland. She's a gifted speaker, a host, an MC, a storyteller, a mentor, and life coach, using ancient and modern practices and a fusion of her cultural teachings, inner work, and varied successful career path. She's driven to uplift and inspire others. Her mission is to support and ignite people she meets to become empowered to connect with themselves, their ancestors, loved ones, and the community and nature, to create a life they love living. Linda is a gifted speaker, sharing many deep personal experiences around success, diversity, and what she has been taught through Aboriginal cultural awareness. Thank you so much, Linda, for gracing us with your presence today. It really excites me to be able to share your story, share your knowledge, the wisdom of your people with our global community for the Herstory Online Summit, International Women's Month 2022. So I will share your story and you will take us into your world for a few minutes and hopefully educate us with knowledge we would never have learned before. All right, here we go. Oops. I think I have shared the wrong screen. We'll try that again. Linda Osborne. Okay, I think I'm having a little technical problem, so please bear with me. We'll try that again. Okay, I think I'm finally in luck. Here we go.
My name is Linda Millen Osborne. I'm a Wallabo woman from the Bundjalung Nation, a place on the far north coast of New South Wales, in Australia, the great southern land. I welcome you and send my greetings to you and yours. I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land I'm coming from today, the Bidjigal people of the Wallai Creek, traditional custodians of the land that I stand here on today. And traditionally, it's custom to acknowledge the land you're on. This great country I come to you from always was and always will be Aborigine land. I wish to acknowledge my elders, seen and unseen, my elders that have passed, that are present and are emerging. I wish to also acknowledge the children and the babies, the young ones of the Bidjigal clan as they come through and hold our culture and are our future. I come to you today with a saddened heart. My country, a Bundjalung nation, is flooding. We see Mother Nature out of balance. We see the impact of our practices on our mother. And as she wobbles out of balance, people are dying, people are in strife. And I come to you today with a heavy heart. Also about the fight in Europe and across our world. And I call and I pray for peace. I call and pray for healing for Mother. May we all unite and pray for peace and for the healing of Mother Nature, where my people believe everything comes from and everything returns to. I too have been on quite a journey. I too have wobbled out of balance. I too have come through the darkness as a survivor in a childhood of complex sexual abuse, growing up with alcoholism in my line, in my home, domestic violence that unfolded into a continued abusive practices that I accepted as I grew up as a teenager, born unfortunately into a cycle of abuse that I have had to learn how to alchemize and survive. And I come to you today with a few gifts. A gift of a story of survival and an encouragement to any of you suffering to continue to keep coming, to continue to do your healing work, to continue to love and to believe in love, and to begin the process or deepen your process of forgiveness that has really helped me be able to turn my pain into my gift to the world. My grandmother was born of mixed race in 1908, born of an Indigenous father of the Bundjalung Nation of the Wallabo people. She was taken from her community by her non-Indigenous family and hidden from the authorities. At the time in Australia, there was a policy to remove children of mixed race from their Indigenous families, an act of genocide, to whitewash our Indigenous culture, to take languages and culture away. My grandmother grew up not belonging in her white family truly and having no access to her Indigenous culture, feeling quite ashamed of her skin colour and her heritage. That led to quite a difficult life for her. That led to her having 6 children, one, my mother, born in poverty and real struggle. The impact of the government policies and colonialisation on my family directly has been very traumatic. And there are stories right across this country of such struggle and trauma. But our spirit is strong. And she was a survivor. My mum was a survivor. And I'm a survivor, and I'm turning it into thriving through learning these lessons, through being able to alchemize my pain, coming out of the darkness, believing in love, and offering forgiveness to people in my life who have done unforgivable things. I'm a survivor of complex child sexual abuse. I witnessed domestic violence. Addiction has washed its way through my family, my siblings, my mum, my uncles, my grandfather. A lot of pain, a lot of suffering arises out of that. I faced bullying and harassment in my career as I sat in the deputy's chair, one that took me out of my career, led me to stand up against a big institution and say, enough, you will not treat me or anyone else like that. 5-year battle, believing in the right way, calling to stop abuse in my life and in others. When I was 20, a beautiful coincidence, if there are any, occurred for me when I met my uncle Peter Costello, an elder, a great elder from the Kukutaipan people of Cape York, a man who experienced the stolen generation, was removed from his mother at 7. Quite sad, quite traumatic, quite displacing, life-changing. He and his wife, Auntie Dulcie, welcomed my mum and I into their family, adopting us. I was able to learn my culture, very strong cultural spirit that I hold, beautiful connection with nature, listening and learning from nature, hearing my ancestors in the bird song, noticing the sunsets and the sunrises and the meaning behind many natural occurrences. I travelled up and down the east coast with Uncle Peter to Hawaii and London and Holland, learning his message. His lesson was that all people need to unite. We need to put our differences aside. We need to come into love and acceptance. We need to forgive. Our past hurts. He taught me about the rainforest, how all the trees need to lean on one another to gain light, to get water, to stand tall. After raising my little children and coming out of that difficult time with the bullying and harassment that removed me out of my career, I was called to begin cockatoo dreaming in honour of my uncle, where I show up in mentoring, in coaching, in counseling for men and women, helping them create lives they love living, helping them learn the lessons I've learned coming out of the dark, helping people see the miraculous power of forgiveness, of self-forgiveness and forgiving others. Having a big heart, having a loving nature. Cockatoo Dreaming gives me the opportunity to share that with everyone, like with you today. I had mentors and important people along the way. It was why I became a school teacher, because my high school teachers, one in particular, Sharon Singleton, made a complete difference in my life. I had just lost my best friend in a car accident, and at 16, she saw something in me. She mentored me and helped me out of a dark hole that I was in, grief and loss. I've experienced a lot of grief and loss, experienced a lot of trauma throughout my life, but I believe in the power of love. I believe love also is fierce at times, that love needs boundaries, that love is sometimes a no. I believe that love protects and love shields. I also believe that love is vulnerable and soft and open and willing and is forgiving. I believe love makes mistakes. And I believe every day that I'm called to show up in loving action. Love is an action word. I've been called to forgive my perpetrators, and I've seen the miraculous healing power of that in my life and in their life. I don't come to you as a perfect person. I come to you also with at times doing wrong, with lying and cheating. But I also know and accept those things about myself. I forgive myself for those things. But I also know that my light is here, that I show up, that I forgive, that I love, that I give. And I make a difference to people's lives when I can. I welcome you to honour your ancestors. I welcome you to light a candle, to honour their legacy, because we are all the lights of their wins and their losses. I welcome you to start your healing journeys, to begin to forgive those that need forgiveness, to start with yourself. I also was called late last year to form a charity collective, a foundation called Wajam Warriors of Peace, where Indigenous and non-Indigenous people join together to support remote Indigenous communities. Again, I can offer you my assurance of what the power of showing up in love, in action in those communities, what it has done for those people. The last community we went to, the elder there told us, after we'd been and shown up, that hope had returned to her community. That is a great gift. That is worth me coming through the darkness, suffering all those setbacks and those traumas, sitting in the therapist's chair, calling in the healing, connecting to my ancestors, offering myself forgiveness and all those around me. I call you to show up in love and in peace. It is what our world needs. You must start with yourself, because however we treat ourselves, it will ripple out into our lives. I encourage you to be kind and loving. It is the way we can change our lives, others' lives, and hopefully the world. Love is a superpower. It is what we need more of, the frequency of love. So I call you, where you can, to be more loving, be more loving, give more love, and receive more love. Thank you for your time.
Wow. Thank you so much, Linda. I think the biggest gift you gave to me is a reminder that I should have acknowledged the people of this land. So I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea, and community. I'd like to pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander persons today. Thank you for bringing me back to remembering that I should have acknowledged in the very beginning before I even started speaking. So again, we're getting beautiful feedback online. Thank you, Dorothy. She said, love is a superpower. Wow. You touched on so many things in your presentation, Linda. So many things that we all seem to so many things that are happening in the world right now. You know, you talked about the flooding in Queensland. That's all to do with climate change. You talked about how Mother Earth is struggling right now. We all need to wake up to the fact that we are killing our world, and we need to start making small little changes, whatever those changes are, whatever those changes mean, to bring back balance to our universe. You talked about the wars. The war in Ukraine right now is a big concern for all of us. You know, I've been reading how African students are stuck in Ukraine. They're being discriminated on getting on any form of transportation to help them get out and get to the borders. So we all have to pray for peace. And I believe peace begins with me. It begins with each and every one of us just being still for a moment every day to tune in and find the peace within first. You talked about your high school teacher who had an impact on you. I've had a similar experience. I became a prolific writer because of one teacher who came to Zimbabwe when I was 13 years old. And sometimes we get lucky in that we find these people in our lives who touch us, who see our greatness, who see our potential, and they reflect it back to us so we can remember who we truly are. So thank you for reminding me of that as well. It sounds to me like you have overcome a lot of trauma in your life, and grief, and loss, and sadness. And yet, when I listen to you speak, standing here in front of all of us, I see nothing but a very strong woman who has bounced back from all of those things that have knocked her back. Please keep doing that, because that is a beautiful thing to observe from a distance. And the last thing you touched on was forgiveness. How many times do we hold on to the things that people have done to us, the hurts of the past, to a point where we can't really move on with our lives? We get so stuck in the past, it's not easy to move on. So that was another beautiful reminder, because a lot of times when you forgive, you're doing it more for yourself than for anybody else. You're doing it for you to heal. And in your healing, you heal the perpetrator, you heal the person that hurt you as well. There was so much knowledge packed in this presentation. Thank you for gracing us with your presence this morning. So now I'm going to move on to our next speaker. As you know, the Herstory movement is balanced. We have male speakers who grace us with their presence as well. And our next speaker is coming from right here in Melbourne, Australia. I had the pleasure of interviewing Ronnie L. Cheek. He is based in Melbourne, Australia, and he is the co-chief and executive officer for Sukshi 222. This is a US-based international level non-governmental organization. It is registered as a nonprofit operating under the fiscal sponsorship of the Institute of Education, Research and Scholarships. Their mission statement says, promote and help achieve the universal basic right of the dignified access within civil society to a minimum of 2 gallons of clean water a day, 2,000 nutritional calories, and 200 feet of safe shelter, hence the 222 in the business name. Our mission is to advocate for the dignified access of adequate food, water, and shelter for the global population, to educate and enable every individual to achieve and maintain a self-sustainability in a cohesive and healthy society with others within our environment. So Ronnie, thank you for doing the interview with me. You know, I learned so much from you that day, and it gives me great pleasure to be able to share you with our community this morning. Coming to us.
Hello, awesome to be here. Thank you very much for having me. Well, my story, when you look at it, I'm a Australian, born here, but the descent is Lebanese. So my parents migrated to Australia almost 50 years ago. So grateful to be in such a great country and a great city, Melbourne. But along the journey, I've had many experiences through work-life experiences. I have 3 children. They're beautiful. And my wife, of course. And then, a few years ago, I decided to really look, when you say look back on a career and a personal journey, and felt that, it was time to make a difference and do something impactful, like social impact. And I felt that I can give something. I think everyone's got something in them to give, and whatever that is, it will be, whether it's, through financially or time or skill. So I felt that I can give all 3 at various stages. And so I went on a bit of a journey to have a look what was out there, and what came my way was a movement called Sukshi 222, and an international movement. But it started as Project 222 with a gentleman by the name of Charles Hosopple, and he's based in the US. And so when I met him, he was fascinated also by myself. So we formed a partnership in Australia for Sukshi 222 Australia. So we created a non-government organisation here, and went about the last 2 years, February. So it's 2 years since. And we've just been going along, planting chapters mainly in Africa, and one in Nepal and Pakistan, but the rest have been Africa. So mainly based around water. So Sukshi is an acronym for Sustainable, Unified, Kinetic, Holistic Initiative. So Sukshi means happy also. It also means happy, but it's broken down into that acronym. And the 222 is a metric or a measurement, American, so to speak, but 2 gallons of water, 2,000 calories of food, and 200 cubic feet of shelter. So That's the 222. But dignified access is a human right, we believe, and we're going to go out and about in the world and yeah, push for that for every single human. Look, I think my parents generally by nature were givers. When my parents were the first in their families to leave Lebanon to come to Australia, and then went about bringing every single member of their family to Australia. So they went and provided to ensure and stayed in their home to then enable their family members the opportunity to start a new life in Australia. So, and then, yeah, from there, my dad was always a generous man, you know, in that he would always provide, well, when I say always, where he could provide. So it's instilled in us to do that, but that's more of a, I guess you're grateful for that. I think where I decided was that moment where I felt that I had achieved enough for myself. It was time to then ensure that others would have that opportunity. So that's where it's, I guess those roads led to this. Yeah, currently it's remotely. So ever since I've been on board, that word COVID has been around 2 years. So February 2020 is when I joined the movement and became as part of the leadership team on the international board, and then also co-founder in Australia. But 2 years, and it's been unfortunately affected by COVID. But the plan and aspiration is to definitely go there, and we see videos. So when we see a video of water filters being distributed to these communities, it always brings a tear to my eye of happiness. Just that to see the basic human right of clean water given to people, and they're singing and dancing, and you look at what lives, you know, the Western world have, and you're like, yeah, it's an amazing feeling seeing it. But I would love to see it face to face. True, definitely.
Yeah, one of these days when the world finally opens up, you'll be able to go and visit all these projects. So yeah, this clean water project is in Botswana, Cameroon, Ghana, Kenya, Malawi, Mozambique, Nepal, Nigeria, Pakistan, Rwanda, Tanzania, Uganda, Zambia, and Zimbabwe as well. Wow.
You know better than me.
Wow. That's just incredible. So why is giving so important for the future of humanity, do you think?
So that's a very good question. And I think if, you know, there's more of us out there, I mean, I was probably not one of us once upon a time. So how do we then, if you want to call it recruit or onboard or influence, there's many words that we can use to ensure that there's more of us out there doing that. I don't know if it's education. Well, I know it's part of it. I don't know if it's the whole issue, if it's an educational piece, because I was never in that headspace to do it. But then I became available in the mind to do that. So yeah, it's a timing thing, but it's also education. So how do we get more on board? Yeah, I haven't had a workshop on it, to be honest. I've done sorry, there's a notification. Yeah, there's many hours of social research I've done on how we can make a difference in the world, but I haven't done the research on how do we onboard more help to, you know, make it a bigger movement.
Yeah. Wow. And the reaction and the response you've been getting, what has that been like? Is it mostly from people in Australia, or is it global?
Oh, no doubt it's global. And if we do it on a consistent basis, we see the message is out there, and more people actually, you know, promoting that or giving us commendation. I guess our issue is resource and time. Mm-hmm. You know, 2 people versus 4. If you have 4 people on board with you, you can promote the message more. And it's a challenge in that sense, but all the I guess all the feedback is positive. We just need more of us to, you know, promote the message.
Yeah, it's about enrolling those foot soldiers who can also spread the word, bring on board more people, and it does grow. I know what it's like to start a movement. It's not that easy.
Yeah.
but the more people hear about it, the more people will step up and get involved.
But I think to answer also your question is that it's taken positively. So there's no, I don't think there's anyone there to suggest that it's not a basic human right to have 222, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah, that is so true. Wow. So where do you see the future of this project going?
Multiplying, scaling. Our future is we see it as bright. Our biggest challenges are people, resources, and financially. There's only so much you can take it with your own pocket. So the proof of concept has been to identify a country in need, which most of them would be in Africa, and do a proof of concept. So we do 22 water filters, 22 water filters in an identified country, and do the proof of concept, recruit a team, onboard them, and go, yes, that's a big tick, we've got a country. And we want to do more of those countries in Africa, and then expand not only in Africa but globally. But within those countries, instead of 22 filters, we'll do 222 and 2022, and then so on. That's the magic metric. So that's the plan and idea.
Oh, that is just fantastic. That is awesome. Well, it sounds like the timing of this as well is perfect, with the world thrown in turmoil with this new pandemic. A lot of people are destabilized. A lot of people are really hurting because of COVID. How has COVID hampered your progress, or the speed at which you can get things done?
It definitely has, in terms of logistics and the ability to move around. So it's every country gets locked down. It doesn't mean it's only a Western country. Every single country in the world had lockdown. So when we would have our Zoom meetings, we would face with challenges that people couldn't commute and go see local governments or pick up local pick up filters from the local customs authority and things like that. So logistics wise affected us, and obviously spend was tougher. So investment or donations or funding was a lot tighter. So there were some challenges around that. We're starting to see on the app that there's more engagement and people communicating and interacting with us.
So how can people get involved in this project, and what kind of help are you guys looking for?
Well, I think I said it earlier, there's a couple of things. When we call it resources, it's definitely people. Currently we are volunteer driven, and time and energy is spent through volunteering, so to speak. And obviously funds around in different projects. So whoever wants to donate, or we're looking for funding in that aspect to grow and scale. Yes. So we're looking for that. But definitely volunteers is key. And they can contact us through our Facebook page, our email, and through our profiles, LinkedIn. There's a number of ways.
Fantastic. Well, I'm hoping that our listeners are inspired to come on board and be of support in some way. We can all make a difference in small ways. How much do the filters cost? What is the lowest amount of money that could help this movement grow?
Oh, we would take any donations. There's no sort of minimum, I guess, in terms of that. If someone wants to give $1 to 20 to 50, we're not going to shy away from anything there. But we've done it in a project size currently, so it's around per country and project for about 22 filters is about $1,000 US. Each filter is about $50, so to speak, but that's not just the filter. We factor in paying the volunteers, but paying for the filters, the buckets, the transport, the food for the volunteers, and all that. So that's a bit of a package. $50 helps 50 people for 10 years for clean water. So it's actually a very small price to pay. So it's $1 per person for 10 years, or 10 cents a year per person for clean water, which is a fantastic initiative and very cost effective.
I like the way you've chunked it down because it makes it very, very real.
Yeah.
Thank you. Wow.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, I'm hoping that our listeners will jump on board and be of assistance in some way. And I'm really excited that we're in the same city. Maybe you and I can meet and have a coffee one of these days.
Maybe it will be.
It will be.
I'm sure we'll chat offline about this, but yeah, like I just wanted to say thank you so much for that opportunity. If I can just plug the email address, so info@sukhi .com. That's just send us an email of your expression of interest just to get involved in the project, or go to Suki 222 International and you'll find our webpage as well.
Thank you so much, Ronnie. So everybody, you've heard that. You can make a difference with $50 and give 50 people clean drinking water for 10 years. That is just amazing. Very, very small contribution. So as you all know, the theme for the Herstory movement this year is the power of giving. That's why I wanted to invite you to speak to us today, Ronnie. We're looking for people who are go-givers in the world, because we are needing to step up in our communities and other communities to lend a bit of help wherever we can. Thank you for your work. Stay on the line. I just want to say goodbye to everybody. Our next online summit will be from the 1st of March to the 31st. We're going to have a 31-day marathon with 15 speakers every single day. So if you have a story to share, please join us. Go onto our website, theherstorycircle.com, register to speak and share your story. They say the richest places in the world are graveyards, because they're full of people who had brilliant ideas, who had amazing stories, and they never got to share them. So don't be one of those people. Thank you again, Ronnie. Bye for now, everybody. Okay, so that was the amazing Ronnie coming to us all the way from Melbourne, Australia. Fascinating story. $50 can help 50 people get access to clean drinking water for 10 years. Small gift that can change lives. Wow. Okay, so we are going to move on to our next speaker. We really have a very international group of speakers today. The next speaker is coming to us all the way from Uganda this time. A fascinating young woman who I am excited to share with you today, because she is just incredible in terms of what she has done and what she is doing in her life. This young woman comes to us with a story that is inspiring. She became an entrepreneur during this pandemic. In the beginning, she was just trying to help out with her family, and then she hit on a fascinating business idea. So her name is Nyatongo Barbara Jane. She's age 25 and is a Ugandan, a born-again Christian, a life coach, and an entrepreneur who has a passion about the environment, cooking, and empowering women. She said, "I love being a voice to the voiceless when given a chance, as well as creating awareness on climate change that is happening now in this world. I run a social enterprise called Smart Kitchen Solutions, providing renewable energy for cooking, mainly in households, restaurants, schools, poultry projects, etc. I envisage a world where the planet, nature, and people appreciate each other. My values are respect, self-discipline, support, time, courage, and integrity." Wow. small order for a fascinating young woman. Now, when I started talking to Barbara, I interviewed her a few weeks ago. I was blown away at her tenacity, how she was trying to solve a personal problem at home, and it has turned into a very, very inspiring and lucrative business idea that I feel is going to change lives on the African continent. So we will hear from her first, and then we'll unpack her presentation. I personally want to invest in her company because what she has done in Uganda can be done in any other part of the world. And I'm going to talk about that as well in case any of you might want to come on board to support us to bring this particular young woman's business to the world. So we'll watch her video. She's going to join us for the Q&A session. Good to see you there, Barbara. We'll play your video first, and then we will unpack with a Q&A session with you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nato Barbara June. I'm from Uganda, the founder and the managing director of Smart Kitchen Solution, a social enterprise that is providing renewable energy for cooking. Did you know that the most contributing thing in the world to carbon emission is polluting fuels? I grew up in a loving and caring family where we enjoyed cooking and shared lots of food. Charcoal, known as Amanda in my mother tongue, was the only alternative to run to because we couldn't afford electricity and gas. Due to the high costs of charcoal, spending more than a quarter of our daily income became a problem during the COVID-19 pandemic of 2020, and my mother was forced to reduce meals from 3 to 1. So this really triggered my mind to look for a solution. And along the way, I realized that it's not only us, but due to the massive increase of deforestation, low and middle income households are concerned in urban and semi-urban areas are concerned that the increasing charcoal prices present a risk of their financial stability. According to the World Bank report in September 2020, over 4 billion people still use polluting fuels for cooking. That's to say firewood and charcoal. Yet they are made out of trees. Carbon emissions are being produced while burning them. You can imagine. And in Uganda, over 95% of the population use firewood and charcoal as their main source of energy. In urban centers, 75% of the population use charcoal as their main source of energy. According to the Uganda Bureau of Statistics, that the population is growing annually 3.3%. So you can imagine how big the population and the demanding is increasing. So it's not only that, also the smoke produced while burning this charcoal, it produces smoke which predisposes people to respiratory diseases like asthma and lung cancer. So Smart Kitchen, we provide a solution by producing briquettes as an alternative to charcoal made from organic agricultural waste and water hyacinth that covers a plant that covers Lake Victoria. So we partner with women in communities to collect waste and youth from Lake Victoria that collect water hyacinth and sell to us, hence increasing the rate of employment opportunities as well as improving their financial stability. So it is these raw materials that we use in our production process that even though there are raw materials, but also there are problems that are being faced in our communities, that the waste is being disposed of on a daily basis, and then the water hyacinth is becoming a problem on it's affecting the water transport on Lake Victoria. So through using these components, it makes our briquette to be smokeless, clean, affordable, and burns long for 4 and 6 hours. So our customers are able to save 40% while using our briquette compared to the normal charcoal. And a kilogram of briquette saves 4 kilograms of carbon emissions. 1 ton of briquettes saves 80 trees. So you can imagine if at all most of the population embracing our product, how will our country look like, even globally? And currently, our customers are able to hear about us through our social media platforms, local radios, door-to-door, and Zimbamat. And they're able to get our product through the retail shops, distributors, the door-to-door sales. Through our production process, we start with collection of waste, the water hyphen as I explained, and also we dry it. We take it for carbonization. Carbonization is a process where we burn the waste in absence of oxygen, but turns into black. So we crush these burnt materials, then we mix it with the binder and also the filler. So then we take it for drying in the solar dryer, and after it's packaged in an eco-friendly packaging and then taken to the end user. So to the end user, right now we are mostly using door-to-door sales, and we are working with youth that get a discount on each kilogram of briquette. So at the end, currently the most challenge that we are really facing is meeting the market demand, because we have machineries that are manual, that is the crusher, mixer, and an extruder, which we got from one of the community members through the customer discovery we did last year. In May 2021, that he was able to give them to us so that they can really help us really understand the product, improve it more through the feedback of the customers until we get our own resources. But right now, we are looking forward to how best can we scale up our production capacity, and it is the most challenge that we are really facing. So we need your support. But apart from seeking your support, so far we have been able to get 3 retail shops where we sell our product, and then we have 2 distributors that we do business to business, and also we have generated a revenue of $350 by the sale of the briquette through targeting households. And we received a grant from Jangu International, an organization based in Uganda that empowers youth to come up with social enterprises. So this grant really helped us to generate, to purchase raw materials, to do more market research, to improve on our product, and as well as improving on our packaging. We are asking for $15,000 that will help us to acquire improved machinery, build a solar dryer facility, as well as improving on our brand. And we believe that through your support, we shall be able to reach out not only to households, also to restaurants, companies, and schools. And with your support, more trees will be saved, carbon emissions will be reduced, more lives of people will be improved. And we are looking forward to work together with you and towards reaching our vision of a world where the planet, nature, and people appreciate each other. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Barbara.
This brand logo that was done by a top 5 freelancer. Quality. And those slick brand guidelines that your designers love.
I need to stop the video.
Now,
Thank you so much, Barbara. It was wonderful to hear from you. Your project really inspires me. The biggest inspiration for me is that you are taking waste that is in your environment and turning it into a fuel that people can use for cooking. The water hyacinth plant, for those of you who don't know, is a plant that grows in rivers. We have a serious problem with this plant in Zimbabwe. Most of our waterways are being choked because it's like a parasite. And when it starts growing, you can't get rid of it. And what Barbara has successfully managed to do is to harvest this plant from the rivers in Uganda. And she's now turning it into this briquette, these bricks that can be used for cooking. Fascinating project, a problem that is being solved in terms of people not having to chop down trees for firewood, but cleaning up their environment and using any organic waste in the making of these briquettes. The fascinating thing is that they don't give off a lot of smoke and they last a very long time. So I'm so excited to be able to share Barbara with all of you. We're going to try and help her raise the $15,000 that she's needing to get her product to market and scale, and hopefully take it throughout Africa and the world, because you have really hit on a fascinating product that can change the way we cook, the way we use fuel to heat our homes and to cook our meals as well. So that was Barbara from Uganda. I know she's been trying to get onto our connection so she could come in for the Q&A session and is struggling, and I suspect it's because of her internet connection in Uganda. But we will have her back on again later in the month. Maybe she might find somewhere where she can get a better connection and be with us. So Barbara, thank you. I know you were on LinkedIn a few minutes ago trying to get into the summit. We're with you. We know the struggle you're going through, and we will try and support you in any way we can as a collective of women. So, okay, so there's a message. I joined in. The internet is unstable. Okay, Barbara, I understand. You can watch the show on Facebook if you like. And yeah, we'll reconnect with you maybe when you have a better connection another time later in the month. All right, without any further ado, we are going to now move on to our next speaker. So we've had a really fascinating lineup of speakers so far. Our next speaker is going to be coming to us all the way from Sydney, Australia this time. Now, Faith Agugu is an amazing woman who discovered that what could have been a weakness is really one of her biggest strengths. She is the founder of Silver Sirens, which she launched as an event for redefining aging in 2018. Silver Sirens 2020 was a virtual global event redefining a brave new world, a global conversation. She's based in New South Wales, Australia, in Radwick. And I'll just read a bit of Faith's bio. She says, I always had an instinct that I would get better with age. At 20, I was looking forward to turning 30. On my 30th birthday, I was eagerly looking forward to being 40. Throughout this period of my life, I dreamt about life in my 50s. Now, at 54, I look forward with excitement to turning 60. Faith Agugu has always been motivated by service. Her first job after leaving school was working as a volunteer in a not-for-profit organization in London with children from troubled backgrounds. She then discovered the bright lights of the fashion industry and worked as a catwalk model for over 5 years before leaving London for the sunny shores of Sydney, Australia. Faith landed a job with one of Australia's leading fashion houses, as well as continuing to advance her career as a model. Faith launched her own fashion business in 2004. Raw Fashion Agency represented local fashion designers as a PR and sales agent. She also began teaching at FBI Fashion College in 2016, mentoring the next generation of up and coming fashionistas. So Faith, I know you have a fascinating story to share with all of us. It's always exciting to meet women who have reached a certain age and are excited about being a certain age as well. A lot of times women struggle with aging. We don't want to go back and think about the beginning, but we are fearful of moving forward into a wiser woman. So I think, Faith, you have done that very successfully. So I'm going to share my screen and have the beautiful Faith come to us all the way from New South Wales, Australia.
Welcome to Herstory. Welcome to my story. From childless to child-free. It may sound like exactly the same thing to you, but the difference is between attitude and state of mind. You see, I was one of those women in my 20s that thought the world was my oyster. I traveled to all my favorite places. I went all the way through Europe, through Asia, through South America, and always believing that I had as much time as I needed. I was living in London at the time, and I remember coming back from a trip to Italy, finding a job, and meeting a man, like out of the blue, meeting this man that I thought would be my husband. We traveled the world together. We spent so many wonderful months in the most beautiful tropical places through Asia. I just remember spending so much lovely, beautiful, sun-kissed evenings on the beaches of Bali. And every time I looked at this man, I saw my future laid ahead. I saw children, I saw a happy home, I saw us building a wonderful future together. Fast forward, I'm in my 30s, 31, and I realized that this relationship that I thought was going to bring me all the things that I wanted was disintegrating. This man that I'd put everything into for the last 6 years decided that he didn't want what I wanted, just children. And I certainly wasn't the type of woman that always talked about children, but I took it for granted that that would be my journey. I already knew that I was going to have girls. I already had their names planned out. And yet, this man who'd said to me, let's talk about it in 6 months. Let's talk about it in another year. And even though something deep in my soul knew that he probably would never change his mind, I believed him and I hung in there. At least I wanted to believe. And I convinced myself that if I loved him enough, that he would change his mind. So I had my 31st birthday, and then within a few weeks, he breaks the news. I don't think we want the same thing, he said. I was devastated. It felt like my whole world had fallen apart. All the stories, all the imageries, all the plans I had in my head, all of these ideas and dreams that went far into my future, all of them crumbled in front of me. I was devastated. absolutely crushed. And I remember packing up my things because he refused to leave the home and going to spend a few days with a girlfriend. We sat there. She did what a good girlfriend would always do. Told me that I was better off without him. Told me that there'll be many, many opportunities to have children. She reassured me. And I wanted to believe her as I cried into my 10th cup of tea. And I recall a few days later, I was walking along the beach in Bondi, and I saw this beautiful man. He was a vision. He really was. He was very much my type, very tall, very classically handsome. And this man came sauntering over to me, asked me my name, and within 4 weeks, we were engaged to be married. Talk about a rebound. And at the time, I wasn't thinking that it was a rebound. I thought this was the real thing. I thought meeting him was God or the universe's gift to me for living my truth, for not compromising, for not begging and holding on to my past or my last relationship. I thought it was my gift. So I jumped right in and I fell in love in a matter of days. So when he proposed to me 4 weeks later, it all made sense. I felt very deeply in my soul, I've met the man. This is the person that I'm going to create that family with. And I was so excited. Whew. It didn't take long for everything to start to crumble. Very quickly, I started to see that this Prince Charming was actually nothing as I expected. It was no charm at all. He was verbally abusive. And the things he said to me, I'd never heard anyone say to me before, or I'd never accepted it from anyone before. But I felt a lot of shame that I'd told my family. My brothers and sisters were coming over from England to be part of the wedding party. And all my best friends were all in the wedding party, and we had gone shopping to get all our outfits. So I wasn't going to back down. I was going to make this work no matter what. I was going to have my family. I was going to have my children. And even though this person wasn't my idea of the perfect father, I would work twice as hard to make up for the deficiency. That's what I thought. So a few weeks, maybe another, say 12 weeks into it, I realized that I could not pretend anymore. But I woke up one morning convinced that it was time to break it off. And I discovered that I was pregnant. This thing that I thought I wanted more than anything else, to be pregnant. When I heard the news, my heart sank. I knew instinctively that there was no way I was going to have a child with this man. I knew instinctively that there was no way I was going to share parental time with this man. I knew instinctively that there was no way that I was going to allow my child to spend weekends with this abusive man. So as I sat there, one small part of me excited that I was pregnant, relieved that I could get pregnant, but also frightened, knowing that there was no way I could bring a child into the world with this man. As soon as I got pregnant, I kind of knew that I was going to have a girl. In my mind, it was always a she. And in my mind, I named her. in my soul, she started to take shape. As I close my eyes now, I can even see her. If she was alive now, she would be 27. But she wasn't to be. So when I told him, and we made the necessary arrangements, and we both did it in such a robotic way, it's like we were both out of our bodies. I remember going to the clinic. I remember a counselor sat with me, so I just made sure that I was okay with my decision, that I wasn't being forced or coerced. And I just remember that numbness. I knew what I had to do, and I couldn't afford to allow my emotions to get in the way. So I did it. And I walked away from motherhood, and I walked away from him. Little did I know that that would be my only opportunity to create the family that I wished. So I went from childless to child-free. How did I do that? The journey was a very, very painful one. I remember scurrying around from one relationship to the other in my early 40s, desperate to find someone who would be the candidate, the father of my child. I dated so many men, and the agenda was just simple. I want someone who wants to have a baby. That's it. Doesn't matter. Don't care what sort of personality. I don't care if you've got any money. As long as you're not an axe murderer, I want someone who wants to have a baby with me. And I met a wonderful man, very kind man, such a gentle soul. But he was clear from the very beginning that he was not going to have a child. He was clear that fatherhood was not his bag. And I took him to counselors. We sat around with so many friends. I tried to cajole him, to manipulate him, everything. But this man, this beautiful, kind soul, he was clear. Fatherhood was not for him. So we broke up. And I went through another string of men, another string of men, another string of men. And then I met a man that it seemed like this could be it. I was 43 when I met him. And we had 2 years together. And in those 2 years, I would drag him to therapy to talk about having children. I would drag him to the fertility clinics to get his sperm checked. I dragged him everywhere. This man didn't want to have children. This man was not suitable to have children. This man was definitely not father material. But I wanted him to be the father of my child because there was not many options left. So I cajoled and I manipulated and I sulked and I cried. And eventually this man said, okay, I will be the father of your child. And we went to the fertility clinic together. We had our tests. I was getting excited. It was looking like this was going to be it. And then I had my 45th birthday. And I was sitting on our balcony, overlooking the trees. And something so bigger than me, something spoke softly to me and said, beloved, it is time to accept that you're not going to be not in the traditional sense they followed with. I didn't know what they meant, but I really heard it, and I found myself collapsing on the ground, sobbing and sobbing and sobbing and sobbing. I sobbed for days because I knew they were right. I was 45 years old. What was I thinking? What was I going to do with a brand new child? What was it going to be like staying up late at night and not sleeping and being tired? I was 45 years old. If I had a child, I'd be at best 46. If I was lucky, if I was able to. What was I thinking? So I began the journey of letting go. And I just sat in the loss, in the childlessness of my life. And I watched my friends with children, and I watched couples walking down the street with their children. I watched, and my heart just broke into a million pieces. My heart kept breaking and breaking and breaking. And then about 2 years later, while I was sitting in meditation, I heard that voice again. And the voice said, no, you won't be a mother in the traditional sense, but you will be a mother to many. And I heard it, and I heard it. Every part of my being heard it, and I came alive. Because I realized that I had so much work to do. I always thought that my value would be around mothering, bringing children up, showing them the right way, guiding them. But I got given so many ways of mothering, so many ways of mothering. So now I mentor a wonderful group of women. There's 20 of them in my group in the Ubuntu Afro Sisters Circle. I also am the founder of Silver Sirens, an age-positive movement with over 2,000 women that I mentor and support and inspire and show that there is so much amazing, wonderful life ahead of us. So you see, I moved from being childless into the bountiful, wonderful, lush, abundant space of childlessness, of child-freeness. From childlessness to child-freeness. So even though I was child-free, my life was full. There was no lack. My life was rich. So grateful. So if you're a woman who's trying to have children and you think your life will be over if you don't have children, let me be a testament to you. The motherhood goes beyond just giving birth to babies. Thank you.
Wow. What a powerful presentation. Faith has really shown us that, sometimes you go through life with a goal, with a mission, thinking that that's where you want to be, that's what you want to do. And then life throws us these little curveballs that you cannot avoid. And you have to adjust and find a different way of continuing with your life. Your story is inspiring, Faith. There are a lot of women who suffer in silence. I'm so excited that you're doing the work that you're doing to support others. So Faith's website, as you could see, was thehealingprocess.com.au. If any of you out there are going through a similar struggle and life is not making any sense, and you want to have that baby and you can't find that perfect man, connect with her. She could be the answer to your prayers right now, someone you can talk to who can help you navigate that difficult space. Okay, so we are going to now move on to our next speaker. Another gentleman, like I said before, the Herstory movement loves having men on the platform. I believe that our world will change when men and women meet in these virtual and physical spaces where we share our ideas, our life experiences, that's when we really bring about change. So Nigel Stonham is from Vienna, and I'll read a little bit about what he shared in his bio. He said, "I spread happiness. I connect people with passion. I'm working to build a community along the street based on learning. The Learning Street aggregates technology trainers and trainees in a membership community, enabling small groups to follow their personal learning plans within a motivating team spirit. An experienced, creative, and sales-oriented strategic thinker, he's passionate about optimizing people, places, and projects as a catalyst." So, Nigel, thank you. I know you're originally from the UK, living in Austria since 1999. And you say that Vienna has been your city of dreams in the heart of Central Europe and a great base for living and working. Thank you, Nigel. I'm going to share your video and then we will unpack it and see what nuggets of wisdom you have brought to share with our community today. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Herstory TV and the Herstory podcast. This is Gertrude Butcher here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am blessed with the presence of yet another fascinating guest coming to us all the way from Vienna this time. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, how old you are, and share your story with us today.
Thank you very much indeed. My name's Nigel Stonham. I'm calling in from Vienna in Austria, and I'm 60 years old last September. My story has a few elements, and what I'd like to start with is an English lesson in 2006, where I was talking to a bunch of finance managers in a company in Vienna. And I was wondering with my preparation what I wanted to talk about. And I had a flip chart. And on the flip chart, I wrote up as preparation, "Money Can't Buy Me Love," which is obviously a song title. And I looked at it and I thought a bit. And then I thought, no, I don't really like that. And I changed it to happiness. And then I wrote down, define, measure, compare, and increase. So when these people, when I started the lesson sometime later, I had 5 words on a flip chart with a bunch of finance managers, and we spent 90 minutes exploring what happiness is, how to define it, can we measure it, can we compare happiness, and can we increase it? My focus has been on increasing happiness, and I have condensed that 90 minutes over the years since 2006, which is when that was. I've condensed it down to about 20 seconds to talk to people. I've connected around the world with a lot of specialists in the happiness area. I know a lot of people. I know of people that I haven't connected with, and I know there are also people out there that I don't know about yet. A second defining moment was in 2012 when I was sitting in the sunshine in a garden in England, and I'd had to climb out the kitchen window because I was staying at a friend's. We had a sports weekend. It was the 25th anniversary sports weekend, and I traveled in from Austria for that. And my friend's doors were locked and I couldn't find a key to get out of the house. So I opened the kitchen window and climbed out, sat in the sunshine at 5 o'clock in the morning, and said, what do I want to do? What do I want to do with the rest of my life? And I said, I want to spend the rest of my life traveling the world, spreading happiness. And the beauty of that is, with the power of the internet, one can do that from wherever you are. I've been living in Vienna since 1990. I've been living in Austria since 1999. I moved from the UK to Vienna, and it has been a wonderful experience. I'm very happy to be a guest in this wonderful country. I have just secured my 10-year permit to stay here now that we've had Brexit and some changes to everything there. But I just received last week my 10-year residency permit, which is super. And what else can I say? I have been blessed. I consider myself one of the happiest and luckiest people on the planet, which is a good feeling. And what I have come to as a point of understanding from my happiness coaching is that today is the happiest day of my life, which is quite incredible. So I wake up every morning with a positive certainty that today is the happiest day of my life. And obviously I can explain that logic over time. And I would be very happy to talk more to anyone, including you, lovely lady, about it.
Okay, so my first question is, what is your definition of happiness? Happiness is different for everybody. What is your definition?
I don't really have a simple definition because I think it's quite complicated. My view of, someone said to me, Nigel, if you were, they said it's very difficult to define it. If you were to define it, if you met 27 people, you'd probably get 27 different definitions of happiness. And yes. I said, when I meet 1,000 people, I expect to get 1,000 different definitions because it's an individual thing. And that's the beauty of my approach to it. I put it back to the person that I'm talking to and say, well, it's your happiness. You're in control of your happiness. It doesn't matter what I define happiness as, because that is not going to affect your happiness. It's more likely to lead to an argument between you because you'll disagree. So I'm focused on them, which is a little something that I can give to the world. I can say, it's your happiness. You own it. Now, how do you define happiness? Do you feel in control of it? And would you like to increase it? And if you could see a way of increasing it, can I support you to increase your happiness?
I love that. That is an excellent answer because it does begin with all of us. It actually has nothing to do with the other or anybody else but ourselves. Now, a lot of people, especially in relationships, search for happiness in another person. And we always fall short because of it. We try and change other people so they fit into our narrative of what we expect. How have you navigated your life in terms of relationships and happiness?
What came to me when you started there was the fact that I can remember quite clearly I was talking to a friend about this very point because he was looking for a new partner. And I said, the key thing is that when you're looking for a new partner, you should not be unhappy saying I'm single. You should be happy because when you're happy, you'll attract someone that's equally or close to that on a scale of 1 to 10. If you're miserable at 2, the chances are you'll attract another miserable person. And then you become happy because you're in a relationship, but they're still down on 2 because you can't actually affect their happiness. And so the idea is to work on yourself first and get to a position of where you're comfortable in life, where you're totally happy, and totally, by totally, I mean 80%, because my measurement of perfection is 80%. And I can talk, I have a little story about that as well. 80% is Pareto optimality. And therefore, if you're more than 80% happy with yourself, then you should be in a position to radiate positive attraction and attract a suitable partner into your life. On the other hand, what you can do in life when you're radiating and attracting, and when I first came to Austria, I brought something with me from the UK called First Tuesday, which was a networking event called Linking Ideas with Money. It was a startup. It was in the dot-com boom in 1999. And I met a lot of people then. And I had a job at the time and a young son. And people said, why are you doing this First Tuesday thing, Nigel? And I thought about it. And then I said, well, I want to help people. And why was that? I spent from the age of 6 to 19 in the Boy Scout, actively in the Boy Scouts. And we said our law and promise every week. And part of that is say blah, 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 and to help other people. So it was ingrained in me from my childhood to go out there and do a good turn every day and help other people. And so that's what I said. Well, I'm trying to help other people. In those days, I was trying. And so I was giving of myself to help other people. And I haven't answered the question. I'm aware that I haven't answered the question. Can you define the question again, perhaps?
Yeah, so it actually leads me to another thought that just came as you were answering.
It was to do with attracting partners and relation. Did you say partners or relationships? Because if it's about attracting relationships, I've attracted lots of people into my life who are happy to be helped. I've also kept my own energy a lot of the time up by talking to people like you. I think you found that over the last days, and I get an immense amount of energy from talking to people. This is challenging because one can get an energy overload. So if you keep talking to people and get energy from them and give to them, it's exhausting giving of yourself all the time.
Yeah.
And if you keep getting energy from them, then you can get into a positive upward spiral, as I talked about with Amy, who's a PhD in positive psychology in the States. I said, wow, a positive upward spiral doesn't stop. A negative downward spiral, the opposite, because I've been doing a lot of opposites in my English language. What's the opposite? Black, white, etc. Topical for this Black History Month. The bottomless, the downward spiral can bottom out, and often it bottoms out very painfully for people. And that's something that I'm working to avoid. And I'm connected with some great people who have the skills and the capabilities to support people through situations. And that gives me a warm feeling.
Now, you talked about the law of attraction and how when you are on this positive vibration.
No, sorry, I mentioned attraction. I did not talk about the law of attraction. Okay, that's a specific thing. And I have arrived at a point in my life where I find that I have, by conversations and by absorption of energy from the universe, I come up with stuff that other people are talking about. And then I think, oh, I can understand that. For example, abundance is something that I didn't understand. Yeah, abundance. And then I got to the point in my English lessons of saying, well, look at the word. It's a bun dance. And looking at it like that, I thought, wow, this is fun. And I can understand more now. I also say, I used to say quite frequently that some of the stuff that comes out of my mouth now, if I had heard this 30 years ago, I would laugh openly at the person that was saying it, because now I have a broader understanding of the world. I understand more.
But it seems to me that like attracts like.
I believe it can. Well, magnetically speaking, if you look at two magnets, opposites attract.
Yes.
I'm a great fan of logic.
I love that. Now, we're talking about the power of giving.
Right.
Can you share a story of what changed your life when someone gave to you?
The story that comes to mind is a weekend in Derbyshire when we went with a group of venture scouts from Southampton, myself, some relatives of mine, some kids which were being looked after in a home, and we were walking across to go rock climbing across the meadows. And my cousin, who'd had his motorbike stolen, was talking to a young chap who was a young offender who had stolen motorbikes. And it was interesting seeing these two people. So this was a gift because they were giving me their conversation. We then moved on and we climbing the rock. And these two chaps were helping a chap who was heavy and out of control of his body through various bodily discoordinations. And they both had one foot helping him up this rock face. He was basically plastered on this small rock face, and they were pushing him up. And it was beautiful. It was a gift to see these people working together, having 20 minutes before been emotional loggerheads. And I have been fortunate to pick up lots of experiences like that. So people are frequently giving me stuff. Many times they don't realize that they're giving me a gift, but I can see the gifts in lots of things. I was standing on a street corner one day and it was about gratitude. And I entered into a coaching arrangement many years ago with two people. I asked them to coach me, and one of them said something. They both said something different. And I had said to one of them, I would like to have more children. And I was standing on the street corner several years later saying, I have one son. Am I going to stand here and be upset that I only have one son and say I want more? Or am I going to be grateful and thankful for the fact that I've got one healthy, robust young man? So I said, I choose to be thankful for what I have rather than wishing I had something else. And now, as you know, I have a 4-year-old daughter as well, and she's awesome. And I'm learning from her every moment as I'm learning from my son and being advised and guided by my son as well, quite loudly still.
I love it. So let's reverse that question. And can you think of a story that changed your life when you gave to someone else?
I like to give nuggets of information. I hope these help other people. I hope those gifts help other people. One yesterday occurred where, and the way I like to give some of my gifts is I've got a website and it has pages for different things. So I have a page about love. I have a page about nothing. I have a page about, I have some TV, I have a little page about films that I've made. And the point that comes up, answer your question immediately, directly. I gave a little gift. I'd like to think it was a little gift yesterday. I was talking in conversation with someone and they said, well, what I've set up actually, I did nothing. And I said, well, that's interesting because I have a web page that says I do nothing. And my little nugget there is that it's like helping an old lady across the road, an old lady or gentleman across the road. And she says, thank you very much. And you say, it was nothing, because it was nothing to you because you were crossing the road anyway. But to the old lady, and I actually did this on a street corner in Vienna recently with two girls, as my daughter and a 7-year-old watching in. And they said to me afterwards, why did you help that lady? So here's a gift. I helped that lady. And she was basically, we'd just come across the road. I thought she wanted to go across the road, but she wanted to go left. And the pavement, they were doing building, and the pavement was very uneven. So I saw this lady. I thought she doesn't look very safe. She probably wants help. So I offered to go across the road with her, but she actually went and then the girl said, well, why did you help her? And I said, well, because it was easy and it was nothing. And also because if I hadn't, she might have fallen over and it would have taken me and other people 20 times more effort to help her up off the street and get her into an ambulance and take her somewhere than it was just to spend no time at all being a little kind and giving a little gift of my life, my time.
That is beautiful. So why is giving so important for the future of humanity, do you think?
Well, happiness is important, and if you read the literature, lots of it says there's Action for Happiness in the UK and in Germany as well, and it's a movement that's spread now, and they've got like 200,000 people and they've got this thing, 10 steps to 10 keys to a happier life, and one of those is giving. It says if you give stuff to other people, then it can increase your own happiness. So it's a generous act, but it's also comes back to us because it increases our happiness. And a lot of people out there, I'm connected with a lot of people who are asking for money, and that's a challenge because one can't keep giving money even if you have a lot. But there's this thing about, I went on a coaching weekend once, and it was about time and money, a book by a gentleman and his wife, I think. And there is time and there is money, and people can give money. And for people with a lot of money, that's very easy. If you ask anyone to give them some time, this is a great leveler because everyone's time is equivalent. But busy people can actually create a huge amount of impact with a little bit of their time. And that's one of the things that I'm working on with you in the future. I hope in that, I intend that I can come to you at some point in the future and I say, here's a little situation, and for 30 seconds of your time writing a little Facebook note or an email to someone, you can impact and change someone's life. Or I can invite someone like I got back in touch with this morning, which was incredible, asking them if they could come and talk, if they'd be interested to come and attend, not talk this afternoon, an event I've got that you know about. And I was surprised because I said, well, I'm inviting you to an event at 7 o'clock in the evening in America, which means you're probably asleep now. And I got an almost instantaneous response saying, hey, I'm here. I'm available any time of night or day for anyone that wants me. It was wonderful.
Love it.
And she's a lady that runs a thing called World Class Teams, which is, and I'd never met her. I'm not sure I've even talked to her because we've been emailing for 20 years or more every now and then, like once every 5 years. But there's a connection there.
Yeah.
Because as you know, we're all one. So when we realize that we're all one, and then 5 years, 20 years doesn't really make much difference.
That would make a difference. Oh, wow. Nigel, thank you so much for blessing us with your energy, with your presence tonight. You're the kind of people I want to keep rubbing shoulders with. You know, you talk about giving. My grandmother used to say that this universe is like a giant bank, and we have to keep depositing good deeds. They come back tenfold, sometimes not from the people we give to, but from very unexpected sources. And I'm pretty sure if I get to sit down with you for an hour or two, I will hear the magical stories that has been your life and how it's unfolded based on how you live.
May I? The bank thing there, because that came into my happiness coaching. The fact that the reason I know that today is the happiest day of my life is because every day I make deposits in the happiness bank, and therefore it's had more deposits now than ever. So therefore the amount in it is enough to make it the happiest day. What one has to be careful of from balance, because withdrawals are made from the account. So you have to make sure that you're putting more in than coming out. And that's why if you understand what you can do that increases it, which you're in control of, as against things that happen which you're not in control of, that's what you have to focus on. Focus on doing things that build your resilience and your happiness so that you have enough in the bank for a rainy day.
Rolls come out. I love it. Beautiful analogy. Thank you so much, Nigel. It's an absolute honor to have bumped into you online. And thank you to everybody who's tuned in today. As you know, the theme for our next online summit is called The Power of Giving. We'll be bringing some fascinating speakers with really unusual ideas around the power of giving. So tune in again tomorrow when I come back with yet another amazing guest. Have a fantastic day, morning, evening, wherever you are in the world. And bye for now. Thank you, Nigel. Oh,
bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Boom.
Oh. Wow, so that was the amazing Nigel. Another reminder to all of us about what are the important things in life. I recently had an experience where I had to walk away from what on the surface looked like a fantastic opportunity. But in the end, I found out that it wasn't quite what it seemed. And I've had a lot of people ask me why I walked away. But I always like to live in integrity. I like to live aligned to my values. And it was the right thing for me to do. So I'm going to share with you a little video that kind of reminds me of who I am, why I am who I am, and where I got this moral compass from. So this video was taken at an event where I got an opportunity to share a little bit about my father, my life. I'm going to see if this is going to work. And this is the video. Yep, it's showing.
What does impact mean to you, and how can we all help?
Oh, where do I begin? Impact. Let me share a story of the impact of the people in my life. I come from a very small town in Zimbabwe called Kwekwe. If anybody knows Zimbabwe, you're going from Bulawayo to Harare, and you blink, you'll miss my town. My dad was a chartered accountant, and during my school holidays when I was 16, he would put me on a bus every school holiday and send me to the city to apply for jobs. Not to take the jobs, but he would say that the corporate world is white. When you need to get your first job, you need to stand in front of a white man and speak. So that was the first impact. My father helped me build confidence by forcing me to apply for jobs and not take them. I got my first job that way. My dad lost his job. The bank was going to repossess our home. And he was a chartered accountant. And that school holiday, I could have been an air traffic controller, a pilot. I failed the pilot test because I was too short. But I did pass the aptitude test. I was going to be a COBOL programmer or an air hostess. And my father said there's this thing called a computer. He didn't even know what it was. He said it's like an adding machine and a typewriter combined, but technology is the way to go. So I got my first job in IT as a COBOL programmer. I'm a first generation coder.
Yes.
I programmed in BASIC, Pascal, and COBOL. And it changed my whole life.
And she's part of Shepreneur.
So, impact. When you impact on a girl, when you impact a woman, it changes so many things. My dad saw something in me. He realized I was good at speaking. He would come to every recital, every debate, every speech competition. By the time I was 13, I was competing with 18-year-olds and winning the national competitions in school. That's impact. Just having somebody who believes in you, who sees your potential. Now, the children and the women that I serve live under the poverty line. When I go to Zimbabwe, I became a very skilled photographer because I will not portray them in the conditions that they're in. It takes me hours to take pictures of the children. And what I hope I can show the world is the seed inside them. I can see the future Nelson Mandela in these kids. I can see the scientists who find a cure for AIDS in these children. They're seeds, and they just need to be watered, they need to be nurtured, they need to be fed, they need access to education and healthcare. That's impact. I've always been the only Black person in the room. How many Black people are here right now? This has been the story of my life. And it is such a privilege to be able to share my story with you. Just so you can understand what it is to be Black, what it is to be female. And the impact that you can have on a human being when you see their potential, just the way Peter saw me, just the way Jackie saw my potential, is huge. When you invest in a woman, it ripple effects on her children. It ripple effects on the economy of that village. It ripple effects on everybody around her because women care, not just for themselves, not just for their families, but for their communities as well. So that's impact. Thank you. Thank you.
So that was a very, very strong reminder for me to remember who I am, my reason for being, the reason why I wake up every morning and do what I do to uplift, empower, and inspire women to stand in their greatness. And just to remind us that we stand on the shoulders of giants. They are those who have come before us, who sacrificed for us to be who we are in 2022. Our ancestors who never got the opportunities that we are exposed to. It's easy to forget how far you have come. So if you are struggling in this very moment with something in your life, go back and take stock and see how far you've come. It's very, very easy to forget what you've already achieved in your life. And so I did this a few days ago, and I've made lists and lists and lists of things that even blow me away in terms of what I've been able to do with my life. So go back, take stock, reflect on the past in everything you have already done. And I'm going to end the day with yet another short presentation, a reminder from me to me on why I'm here, how grateful I am for everything I have in my life. And I'm grateful to all of you for tuning in, for listening to all of our amazing speakers today at the opening of the Herstory Online Summit for International Women's Month 2022. So I will share this last video and then we will call it a day. This is real. Dream mark. And what would be good is for me to watch this video on the 30th of January 2023 and report back where life has taken me. I feel like I'm taking a quantum leap into what was my dream. So watch this space. I'll be back again tomorrow. Thank you. I'll just quickly list the things that I am grateful for right now. I am eternally grateful that I held on to the vision of the possibility of this ever happening. I'm grateful to my parents, my beautiful mother, who instilled the spirit of entrepreneurship in me. I'm sad she didn't live long enough to see this happen. I'm grateful to my dad, who showed me the power of my voice, who would turn up at every recital I had for drama, public speaking, debate. I'm grateful to my kids, my daughter Sianda, my son Simba, and Dunisani, who coached and mentored me to pitch this idea for the Australia New Zealand Women in Technology Awards. At that very last minute, I thought I wasn't prepared. I shouldn't pitch. But you guys helped me articulate what this vision was. And 3-minute pitch turned into something else that has totally changed my life. I'm grateful to Dariusz Kanitsky, my beautiful husband, for nurturing me, helping restore my health, for being there at night when I was ill, for spending money investing in an electrical bike so I could get some exercise every day in Wellington. I'm grateful to my beautiful little stepdaughter, Sienna. She's been calling me every single day since she came on holiday and I'm not home. She's been sending me pictures of their trip in the Bay of Islands as they sailed around the islands, and I missed out on that. I'm grateful to all of the women who have supported me in building the Herstory Circle. I thank you for all of your love. I thank you for seeing the possibility of what the Herstory Circle was about. I thank you for sharing your stories, because without your stories, this dream would not exist. I also thank you for honoring your stories. And I make a commitment to all of you that everything I am learning as I go through this journey, I will share with you so I can help you take your business, your vision to the next level. I'm grateful for my ability to see, to look into this camera and share this beautiful story with you. I am grateful that I can breathe. I am grateful that my heart is beating and feeding every single cell in my body to keep me alive. I'm grateful to all of my ancestors, those brilliant people who grew up in harsh conditions in Africa, who never got the opportunity to realize their full potential. I'm grateful to my grandmother and my grandfather that you put these ideas in my DNA so I could show up as me, Gertrude Mache, in 2022, realizing a dream that has the potential to change the face of Africa. I'm grateful to New Zealand, the beautiful, nurturing country that protected and supported me. The safe haven where I was able to bring up my 3 beautiful children. I would never have to worry for their safety. I'm grateful to all of the people in New Zealand who have supported me up until this point. All of the people around the world who supported my initiatives, the Mazivsa Primary School Project. All of the people who came to my presentations and talks, who came to my workshops. All of my clients that have paid for my services to keep me afloat and keep me alive and healthy financially. I'm just grateful to be here. I will see you guys tomorrow. So that is the end of our Herstory Online Summit Day 1. We are going to have a 31-day marathon. First day is over. So I will be back again tomorrow if you are a woman or a man with a story to share and you would like a platform to broadcast your message to the world. Go onto our website and register. It's the herstorycircle.com/registration. We're still looking for speakers because we want to have 15 speakers every single day. Thank you to those speakers who contributed to today's event. Absolutely inspiring to be able to share your stories with the world. So I'll be back again tomorrow, 7 o'clock in the morning in Melbourne, Australia, 9 a.m. in New Zealand. I think that'll be 8 or 9 p.m. in the UK, 2 or 3 p.m. in US Pacific time. We are trying to have this event in a time slot where most people are awake around the world. See you tomorrow, everybody, and bye for now.